Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We've got a bit of a mixed bag in this one. We'll go over Teamless Tuesday news. It's not a super exciting one, but I think there is some noteworthy stuff. So yeah, we'll go through that for a couple of minutes. I'll talk about a few cashies, like Latu Fainu is probably the main one that's on everyone's lips at the moment. So I'll break down whether he's a good option or not. For the most part, I do think he's a good option, but there's actually a different pod Cashie, cheapie, whatever you want to call it out there that I think is actually a better option at the moment. That no one's really talking about. So yeah, I'll break down both of those guys. I'll go through my updated trade plan through round 19, 20, pretty much just using the rest of these 10 trades because my trade plans did change a lot since last week when I made the last video thinking Kaloamatangi was out for the week. So yeah, obviously they've refreshed mid-round scores, always change my trade plans. So yeah, I'll go through that for the moment. It's a little bit of a trickier round with 17 on the board. Roosters on a bye, Jaden Campbell, Fletcher Sharp out. So I'll go through what my trades are this week. I've got two trade plans at the moment, one with Latu Fainu, one without. So I'll go through both of them and yeah, just which end of season guys I'm targeting at the moment. I will get a video out in about round 18, 19-ish. Probably having like a tier list of which end of season guys are the best to get. There's not much point doing it now because their prices will change and stuff. Obviously, we want all our premium guys, but it's going to depend on what their price point is. There is metrics you can use to find out who are the best options. So yeah, I'll go through that. It's like price per point, really. They do have it on NRL Fantasy, like you can check it yourselves, but I'll have a better version of that out based on what I project them to score and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not worth it at their current price point. But yeah, if you want to see that, just let me know and I'll definitely get that video out. I'll probably get it out either way, even if you don't give a shit. So yeah, we'll dive into this one. So yeah, as always, I do have little lists of like relevant news for me rather than just going through each team list. So Panthers versus Bulldogs, both teams, their origin guys are returning. Kiraz back to the wing. I don't think it mattered too much when he was in centres. I did talk about that. I think he scored like a 55 or anything or something anyway. He's a really good option this week. He is going to be super popular. I was actually targeting him in round 18 even before Campbell went out and Fletcher Sharp is out long term, and really hope Fletcher Sharp's okay. That sounds disastrous. It's like a car crash injury, so terrible news for him. Hopefully he's all good. Yeah, Kiraz will be super popular this week. I'd be shocked if it's not 20, 30+% picked up in the top 1,000. I wanted him in round 18 because obviously Brian To'o was carrying an injury going into game 2 for Origin. There's a chance Kiraz is 18th man. I don't think he will be, but there is like some risk that he doesn't end up playing for the Doggies in round 18. But since he's going to be so popular now and we are all targeting a winger fullback for round 17, I think it's okay to go him this round and I absolutely will be getting him. But the risk is mitigated so heavily because he's going to be so heavily picked up. So if he happens to miss round 18, you can easily navigate that knowing the majority of teams are going to have him as well. Whereas if you went early this week and like if Fletcher Sharp didn't get injured or whatever, most people would get him in round 18 and then it is riskier to pick him up this round. But yeah, totally fine to pick him up now and I will absolutely be doing that. Galvin on the bench. So yeah, talked about him being potentially not the best option for round 15 just because we don't know where he's going to fit into the team. I actually thought he would start, but there was always this risk and yeah, he's on the bench. So Burton stays at 6, Sexton at 7. Makes total sense, to be honest. The only other piece of news out of this is obviously Nathan Cleary might not be goal kicking, so you'd assume Dylan Edwards will be. We haven't heard anything updated this week that I'm aware of, but yeah, if you do still have Cleary, just keep in mind. He's still, like, don't trade him or anything now. If you traded him last week, absolutely fine. I think he was the most traded out by the top 1,000, but yeah, just keep him for this week now. His break even isn't excessive. I think it's like 70 something, 78. So yeah, that's totally fine. That's about it from that game. Seagulls, Tigers, as we suspected, Tommy Turbo centre, Garrick wing, and Lehigh Hopawate at fullback. So it's not great for Garrick. He was never a keeper anyway. But yeah, this is a little bit hurtful. It is good that Tommy's on his side, which we knew was going to be the case anyway. Like he should get more ball. They should target that side a bit more, knowing Tommy's out there. I haven't heard anyone talking about it, but does Garrick just defend at centre? He's a good defender. They've moved Tommy there to reduce his injury risk. And we've seen other teams do it where they switch their centre and winger fullback. So I would not be surprised at all if Garrick defends in centre and Tommy Turbo on the wing. I mean, Tommy's a good defender. Like we've seen him do it in Origin and stuff. But if the idea of moving him there is just to reduce the risk of injury. Like, it would be stupid to make him defend out there. So yeah, it wouldn't be surprised at all if Garrick is defending at centre, and that honestly means he's probably just as good, if not better, of a prospect as if he was in centre. But that's just speculation on my behalf. We don't know if that's going to be the case. So yeah, don't read too much into that. But if that's the case, then awesome. Jazz Tavanga starting hooker is not good for owners. You probably will be able to last him to round 18. That's fine. And I don't know if it's just because Lockie Croker's out with a concussion as well. We heard this news yesterday or the day before that he was training there, so it's not a surprise. But yeah, it's not good. It shouldn't be disastrous. Like, his points per minute is still good. We've seen even at lock last week or the week before, when he came off with that concussion, his points per minute was good and he wasn't making meters at lock. Like, it was pretty much all in tackles. So yeah, he can do it. He will still take a couple of darts, but he's better at lock. We saw a few terrible scores earlier in the year when he was playing like 60, 65 minutes at hooker, and he got like 25s, 30s, but I wouldn't expect that. He's clearly a more pivotal player at the moment. Corey Waddell starting edge for Olakwatu. Yeah, not super fantasy relevant. I think it's premium players or massive cash cows at the moment and nothing in between. So yeah, would look to avoid that one. Then on the Tigers side, Heath Mason at fullback and Latu Fainu at halfback. We were pretty confident in saying Latu was going to play halfback either way. But yeah, I think with Buller going out for a month or 6 weeks or whatever it is at the moment, then that's just going to be their lineup. So yeah, Latu is a great option, and yeah, we'll talk about him soon. For the Knights Raiders, Sharp obviously a sell. Hopefully he's okay. It sounds absolutely terrible. Brayley starting hooker. Saifidi is back and Hetherington in the reserves. So they've got one forward back, and Brayley still hooker. Spoiler alert, this is the man I was talking about as the better pod, and no one's talking about him. I did allude to this last week. I'll get into it now, because why not? I was going to do it later, but I'll get into it now. I did allude to it last week that I didn't think it was going to necessarily be long-term Brayley at hooker, because they have so many forwards coming back, right? Like, what's his name? Crossland was just at lock because they have so many injuries, is what I thought. I did tweet out at Barry Toohey. If you don't know who Barry Toohey is, he's like the number one of the best reporters in the league, but he's specifically for the Knights, and he has all their intel. I tweeted him out last week because I think Jaden Brayley is an awesome option when he's playing close to 80 or 80 minutes at hooker. Yeah, I tweeted him out last week, didn't get a response because I was asking if Brayley's playing long-term at hooker. Really annoyed I didn't get a response because he's replied to a lot of guys over the last 24 hours regarding the exact same question, but I would have bought him at 45k cheaper. Let me go through these questions and responses. Hey, mate, we say Jaden Brayley playing 80 on the weekend. It said say. We saw Jaden Brayley playing 80 on the weekend. Is this a long-term thing? Barry Toohey. Looking likely. Then we have to scroll up a few because he was talking stuff that isn't fantasy relevant because there's more like an actual Knights insider. But what's the next one? Will that mean moving Frizzell back to lock, or Croker instead? Barry Toohey. Crossland will be lock. Morning, Barry. When Leo is back round 19/20, do you still think Jaden Brayley will play big minutes? So that's Leo Thompson, who's due back soon. Barry Toohey. Crossland doing a good job at 13, so more than likely, yes. I think that's all. I think there might have been one or two extras that I haven't found at the moment. But that means when they get all their forwards back, Jaden Brayley is still going to be the hooker and playing big minutes, as Barry Toohey has alluded to. This guy is a machine when he's playing 80 minutes or so. Like, he averages close to 50. And his priced at, what, like 30 something, if that? What's he priced at? Not even that, actually, like 25. This is so slow. Why does it always do this when I film? I swear it's fine. Yeah, it's priced at 28. Let's just have a look at his stats when he averages over 70 minutes. 49.5 for his career. This year, 54.3. 43.8 last year, but a couple of them weren't at hooker. 46.3 at hooker. 54. 50, 57, 41 in 2 games, 47. I'm excited. I am very excited by Jaden Brayley. I'll get into him more down the track in this video because I do have a little bit of a segment on him as well. But his break-even's 4. let's say he scores 350s and he's already made 150k in 3 weeks. That excites me. Anyway, moving on. Hudson Young rested, so Simi Sasangi is starting at edge. Is that good for Hosking? Probably, maybe not. We saw him play 80 last week, but I think in round 12, Simi Sasangi played 80 on the edge when we all thought Hosking would. Hosking did move to the middle of the pack a little bit. I'm just seeing how slow this is. Hosking moved to the middle of the pack a little bit for Morgan Smithies, and then when Smithies came back on, Hosking came off at about the 70th minute or so. So, yeah, I don't know if Hosking plays 80. I'm still looking to trade him this week, I think, just because I don't necessarily need him in round 18. If you do need him in round 18, absolutely keep him. This is not bad news. Like Hudson Young being out is a good thing for him. He's just rested this week, but then obviously has Origin next week as well. So yeah, I think it is good for Hosking short term, but I don't think amazing. So just a little bit of a boost. Broncos versus Warriors, nothing to note really. I think they pretty much have the same 17. Warriors, that young gun at centre is 18th man now with Capewell back, but yeah, nothing too exciting or fantasy relevant. Dragons versus Eels, Lawson and Pacifica Tonga are dropped to reserves. So yeah, Lawson we probably did see coming. It was about 50-50. I did trade him last week. Whether he was playing or not didn't really affect that. I just needed to make the money work. But Pacifica Tonga being dropped is ridiculous. Like the Dragons aren't doing anything this year. He was not the guy to drop out of this team. Like I know they've been struggling a little bit in the pack. There was other guys to drop over him, absolutely. Like it's ridiculous. Don't know what's going on. They played Hamish Stewart like 20 minutes as well. So yeah, sort yourself out, Flanagan. Not sure what he's doing. Couchman's still edge, but Jaden Sewer is back. So Luciano Leilua on the bench. Assuming Jaden Sewer goes back to his 80-minute role, I can't imagine Couchman plays massive minutes at edge. I said it before, I think he plays the Dylan Egan role, but we haven't seen that yet. But I think when Jaden Sewer's back, that will be the case. So yeah, 30, 35 minutes on the edge, then moves into the middle of the pack, and then maybe comes out for a 15-minute spell, 10, 15 minutes is what I think. And I think that's better than 80 on the edge, but much of a muchness either way. He'll be better than he has been the last couple of weeks. And then Riley Smith has a 2-week suspension, so that's pretty much the only relevant news out of the Eels side. Dolphins versus Rabbitohs. Mamazelis is back on the bench, so he could start to go down to a little bit of an appealing price, but yeah, he's probably never going to come into our teams this year. Maybe he plays a bit more on the bench and is an option for next year, but yeah, I don't think we'll have like Harry Grant, Connor Watson that's going to be more appealing unless he gets super cheap and then goes back to an 80-minute role, but yeah, that's about it. Ewan Aitken back to edge, which is good. And then Hubner bench. So I think it's time to go for Hubner if you haven't already, but most of us have. Aitken back to edge is good. And Lewis Dodd is just completely dropped out of the side. So I don't know if he's injured or Wayne Bennett just hates him again. But he clearly does not like him. So that's fine. At least he's not named. So we're not expecting any last minute issues where Aitken moves to centre. So I think he's all good to play, all good to play in our sides, and yeah, should be sweet there. And then the best player in the league is named at number 12, so that's cool. Jack Howarth is out for the Storm, and that's about it. I think Sharks are 1-17 as well. That's about all for fantasy. I saw a few people interested in Howarth. I don't get it. Like he is a little bit underpriced, but he's not a keeper. Doesn't have any buys, sure, but yeah, if you have like Garrick and stuff like that, Tom Turbo, Reece Walsh, Ponga, whoever you have, if you have one of these guys, like that's another winger fullback you're going to have to trade out. So yeah, don't love it at all. Titans versus Cowboys. So Jaden Campbell is confirmed out. We did suspect the Titans would try and challenge that one, but they haven't. So yeah, he's definitely not playing. If they were going to challenge it, he would have had to be named and is not named. NRL Physio said if he was named, it means they're pretty much going to overrule it. So that's interesting to note for next time it happens. We did see it with Brimson. He was named and played, but yeah, he said you pretty much don't have to wait during the week. If they're named, they are almost confirmed to play. So that's interesting to note, but yeah, he's not named, so he's definitely not playing. They can't override that. Clifford back for the Cows, and Purdue shifts to centre. So yeah, I mean, he's probably going to score better at centre than he has been at 5'8", but yeah, I mean, the Cowboys needed to do something. They were terrible the last 2 weeks. I think they've lost by 100 combined over the last 2 weeks. So yeah, absolutely shocking. They are favourites in this one, so hopefully Drinky has a bit of a better game. I don't love it. Clifford back in the team. Drinky's kick meters will go down a little bit, which isn't ideal. And then Tom Duffy's 18th man, but he's been 18th man the last 2 weeks and he'll probably play, and he might take goal kicking off Drinky because he's been shocking, and at the very least, if Duffy plays, he'll take the ones from the left edge. So yeah, not ideal for Drinky. He's a keeper in my team still at this stage, but yeah, it's getting grim. I've lost like over 150k on him. I bought him at his peak at 700k, which I don't usually do for players, but I just thought the signs were there. I thought foolishly he was going to average 60 for me, averaging 50 last year without goal kicking, without much in-play kicking. And yeah, he's averaged about 35 in my team for the last 6 weeks, so that's awesome. Yeah, he's too cheap to sell now. You're stuck with him. Whether you keep him for the end of the season, that's up to you. But yeah, for now, just hold on to him. And that's about it for team lists. I talked about that a little bit longer than I thought I would. Let's get into Latu, Fainu. Okay. And then Jaden Braley after. Woohoo. So yeah, Latu, Fainu. I have talked about this a little bit. He's not going to play for your team in round 18 in all likelihood. So if you have a number one half already in like a Jerome Hughes, Fogarty, DCE is a slight exception. But yeah, if you have those guys as your number one half and Savala as your number two half, you won't be playing Latu Fainu as the Tigers versus the Roosters. I mean, you could choose Latu over Savala, but then it means you can't play Savala. Where is it? It's round 18. Let's go ahead a little bit. Yeah, they play each other, so obviously you can't loop them unless I'm missing a way to do that. But yeah, you literally cannot find a way to do that. DCE is the exception because Manly play the game after that. But it would mean you can't take DCE's score. So you could have them both on your bench, you could have Latu Fainu on your bench. He scores a 45, you take that. But then you can't get DCE's score if you played Savala. So yeah, there's no way you can get all three of these guys to score. You don't have a bench. None of them are dual position. So yeah, I think he loses a lot of value because you can't play him in round 18. Like obviously on face value, he doesn't have a bye, but it's essentially a buy unless you don't believe in Savala or you don't have a Hughes or Fogarty or DC, I guess. And how long are you keeping him for? So if he's used instead of a cash down, that's great. So like I have Jed Stewart and most people have Lawson. If you're bringing him in as essentially a 230k player that you don't really care about, that's fine. But chances are you're going to want to sell him around round 19, 21 for a premium player if he's not scoring 45 plus, because then you lose a lot of value. And he's not going to make, like if you sell him in round 20, he's got 17, 18, 19, like 3 weeks of cash generation. And he's like, that's not enough. If you're buying him, you probably need him for longer to maximize his value. So yeah, I think he's a great option. He does have a low break even, but these are all things you should be considering. If you're getting him, it means you probably sacrifice a premium keeper in the short term and limits your ability to make marginal trades chasing points in round 18 and 19. So yeah, it's a similar point to this. Like if you're getting him, you're probably going to keep him for longer, which means you can't get a premium keeper in like as an upgrade in an early round, like round 19, 20, when most of us will be using those bulk upgrades because yeah, he's not going to be finished making money unless you have other ways to do it or have mass cash in the bank, then yeah, it's going to be very difficult to offload him. And that's why if you're using him as a cash down, that's fine because he can be your 20th, 21st man and that's totally fine. But if he's not, like if you already have at least one, potentially two cash downs, then it's going to be very difficult to get a full strength team. Unless you have heaps of money in the bank. And yeah, it's obviously another trade used if you get him in, and it's very late to bring in cash cows. Most of us made a lot of money at the start of the year. If your team value is a little bit lower, then I can see it. Or if you have more trades in the bank, then absolutely. But yeah, if you're trading him, that's another trade you're using. And you can't make those marginal trades in round 18, 19, where teams like me will be doing that, and other teams will. So yeah, when are you actually going to be playing Latu Fainu to get his points, whereas you can make these trades in round 18 and 19 if you opt against him. So for me, he won't be playing in round 18 for me. He's not going to play in round 17 unless I loop him and he scores well. That's probably the only time he does. Round 19, he won't be playing in my team. Maybe, does he? No, because I've got Hines, Campbell. He won't be playing in my team in round 19. Definitely not 20 onwards. And I'll look to trade him around that time anyway. So yeah, he's never playing in my team, essentially. And he's more expensive than a cash down. The best case is a lower scoring Savala because he's averaging in the 50s, I think, since being in the halfback spot. But the worst case is a slightly better, slightly more expensive King Tongia because King Tongia was about 250k when everyone bought him in. Obviously, Latu is about 300k now. He should be a little bit better than that, but he's not a bulk kicking half. I know he's named at halfback. Doesn't mean a ton. We've seen it in other times. I don't think King Tongia was named at 7, but there was a similar case where someone was named at 7. They obviously weren't going to play 7. It might have actually been King Tongia the first week he was named. I could be making that up though. He's not a massive kicking guy. Jerome Luai isn't a bulk kicker like a Kyle Flanagan can be, so it's not quite that detrimental, and his attack does look better. Like he's a bit more polished than King Tongia is at the moment. But yeah, like King Tongia has made 130k or so in that time, and you don't have that time to waste for Latu Fainu. And think how long it's taken for someone like Hugo Savala to make his money. I know he carried a bigger break even at the start, so like we'll negate all that sort of stuff. But it's taken him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks to make 270k. Actually, I guess like 300k now, which is good. But he's scored like a 57, 50, 53, 63, 67. So I think best case for Latu Fainu is he averages 45-ish, like 40 to 45. So quite a mile below Hugo Savala. And you just don't have 6 weeks. If it's 6 weeks from now, that's round 23 you're trading him. Whereas you want to be making those premium upgrades well before that. So yeah, I do think he's a good option, absolutely. I know I've talked about the negatives here, but that's kind of the point. Like you're playing devil's advocate. But I just want you to consider like the plan you have for him. If it's only a short-term measure, like if you only want him for 3 weeks, he's going to have to score huge, like 50 plus to make anywhere close to 150k. So yeah, he's a great cash cow. If this was the start of the season, like it's a no-brainer. He'd be 90+% owned, but he just doesn't fit into every scenario. If he makes 445 every week, which kind of unrealistic, he would make 150k and then you could sell him in round 21. And that is probably best case scenario. And then you could maybe keep him another week if you want. Like if he's scoring 45s, that's close to a keep level. But if he's scoring a 50, then a 30, you're not going to rely on him to play as like a 16th, 17th man in your team, like in round 20, round 19 onwards, really. So yeah, if he's scoring consistently, great. He's reliable, that's fine. But if not, it's very scary at this time of year. Yeah, I still think it's a good option. There's a chance he comes into my team, but it's just stuff to consider. Jaden Brayley, on the other hand, he should produce keeper level scores in the short term. Maybe there's a bit of bias here. Like I've talked about the negatives of Latu and the positives of Jaden Brayley, but I don't know. Like Latu Fainu is the popular option. Jaden Brayley isn't. So yeah, Brayley should produce keeper level scores in the short term. As I showed, he averages about 50-ish at a 70+ minute hooker option. So yeah, like he should be producing keeper level scores. So he's a bit more reliable. If you have an injury or two in like round 19, round 20, then he can actually play in your team, and that's fine. Even like this round, if I trade a Hosking to Brayley, that's fine. I'm more than comfortable playing Brayley. If I do Hosking to Latu Fainu, I would want to loop Fainu. And I'll probably loop Brayley too, but like there's a bit more comfortability playing Brayley, knowing his role is secure, as opposed to Latu Fainu, who is a bit unproven at the moment. He should have faster cash gen and easier to offload in round 19 and 20 if his role changes. So yeah, I read out the Barry Turi tweets. It sounds like it's a long-term thing, but Brayley isn't going to be with the Knights next year. If they do get a few forwards back, there is a chance that they change things. If they lose a few games on the trot, which is classic Knights, especially with Sharp out of the team, yeah, there's always a chance that role changes and changes fast. He doesn't play round 18, so like it's a bit like it's one game less. So as opposed to Latu Fainu, who will make that cash generation slower, but he has one extra game to do it. His break-even's lower. He'll score better than Latu. So even in 3 weeks, he's made 150k, scoring 50s. And 50s is a much more realistic projection for Brayley than a 45 every week is for Latu Fainu. So yeah, even if you go another week, that's another 30k. But if he's scoring keeper level scores, much like Latu Fainu, if he was to score 45, you're more comfortable playing him. So it might not be worth trading him out at 514k for a Jacob Preston who's scoring like 8 or 9 better than him when it's such a massive price difference. So yeah, I think the comfortability around playing Jaden Brayley and keeping him longer as long as he stays in that role is easier. And even if you only get 2-3 weeks out of him in an 80-minute hooker role, then it's actually okay because he will already make 100k. So like the floor is a little bit worse, but we just don't know how long that role is going to be there for, if that makes sense. He doesn't help in round 18 because he doesn't play. So look to trade for someone that doesn't play round 18 either or doesn't help your team. So the guys that I'm looking at are Nicho Hynes or Zach Hosking. Hynes obviously doesn't play, so that's fine. I'm not losing a number by doing it. And Hosking at the moment doesn't help my team, and I've got cover as well. So yeah, they're the guys I'm looking at. If it was, I don't know, for someone like Jamal Fogarty, I would not do it because you're losing a number and it is slightly risky still. But yeah, if you're not losing it, if you're set for round 18, then I think he is a great option for sure. I do think Jaden Brayley is a really good option, obviously, like as I've talked about. I'll get into my trades now. I do have both my trade plans involving him, but there is a chance I don't get him. So it will depend on a few things. What I want to do initially is, let me go here. So my first trade is Sharp to Kiraz, but I can't do that because I have $0 in the bank and it costs 10k. So Hosking is probably the first cab off the rank if I do make a trade. Well, I have to make a trade to get Kiraz in as well, but yeah, Hosking will go for either Latu Fainu or Jaden Brayley, so that's fine. It's tough because if I go for Latu Fainu, then I have to trade like a Hynes to Brayley, which I'm comfortable doing at this stage. I kind of want to keep Hynes as a potential keeper, but if I want to get these guys in, I do have to do it. Make some uncomfortable trades, but yeah, so that's fine. But I'll like with Campbell out and Savala out, I have to play either Hynes or Latu Fainu, like whichever one. So if I'm trading Hynes, I have to play Latu Fainu in halves. So I would loop him for sure. I'd just have Campbell or Savala up there, probably Savala, and then Latu on my bench. But if he scores badly, and I've already traded Hynes, then I plan to trade Hynes. Well, so if he scores badly, I can't get Brayley because I'd want Hynes in the half position, and then I have no one else to trade for Brayley. So that's tricky. So there's a chance that based on mid-round results, I wouldn't actually get Jaden Brayley. So I don't love that. And yeah, that's the only scenario where I wouldn't get Brayley. Sorry, I was going on a bit of a tangent there that I might edit out. But yeah, that's the only scenario that I wouldn't get Brayley. And I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. Like I do really want Brayley. If I had to choose between him or Latu, then I'd probably make a trade that meant I get Brayley instead. So yeah, something to think about, but there is a chance I get both, and that is fine as well. So I've done my trade scenarios here with the two. So Fletcher Sharp for Kiraz is a staple in both. Zach Hosking to Brayley is also a staple in both. And then this one is if I want to do Nicho Hynes to Latu Fainu as well. So yeah, at the moment, this is my team, 12 to 14 keepers, depending on how I view Hughes and Hynes. They're both borderline at the moment. I'm keeping Drinky and stuff like that as a keeper. But yeah, in red is my non-keepers. Fletcher Sharp obviously would have been, but he got injured. So yeah, 12 guaranteed keepers, then 2 more that are yellow that may be keepers. 0k in the bank and 10 trades. So that's fine. That's obviously where I'm at now. With these 2 trades, I would have 13 to 15 keepers. So I get 1 extra keeper in Kiraz, which is good. Then I'd obviously use 2 trades and I have 178k in the bank. So that's a pretty good cash in the bank. That's fine. The third trade will be Nicho Hynes to Latu Fainu. So it would actually give me 1 less keeper because I'm trading Hynes. It would use 1 more trade, but I've got 475k in the bank. So then I could easily work some stuff in round 18. I could make those marginal trades, but I would have 1 less trade to use. So I don't know how comfortable I'd be doing it. Like if I'm doing that, I'm probably sacrificing some loop options in round 18. Then this is my, take out the positionally. I remember doing something badly there. Yeah, this is my end of season team target. So the guys in blue, purple, however you guys can see it, are guys I don't have at the moment. So I'll be getting 2 extra cash downs. So I'll end up with 3 because I think 18 is a good number for me to have. Some teams will target 19 players and that's fine. I'd rather have a stronger 18. And then, since I have more trades in the bank, if someone gets injured, I can just make those straight swaps and that's totally fine. I don't necessarily need 19. Most teams with less trades should be targeting 19 because they'll have a higher team value at the moment and they'll have less coverage, like they'll have less trades to use for injuries and stuff like that. So yeah, different teams will have different scenarios, but I'm going to aim for 18, so that works for me. So there'll be 4 extra keepers, and it won't be these 4, absolutely not. It'll be similar for sure, like Cleary's a no-brainer. Watson or Grant, definitely one of those, probably whichever one's cheaper. Katoa I do want because I'm a bit short on halves, and then Herbie probably, but if he doesn't get cheaper soon, then probably not. I might have to roll without him, but yeah, I'll decide which keepers at one stage, but that is my end of season target team with 1 trade left. And then obviously we get another 8, so I can do those marginal trades. Maybe one of these cash downs is actually a cash cow that's close to basement price, and yeah, I can do some trades after and stuff. But that's my end of season team. And when I say end of season, it's like my round 21 team. So end of season with the current trades I have, and that's fine. And then positionally, that's what it looks like. So it's the exact same team, just formatted a different way. So yeah, 17 to 18 keepers, depending on how you view Hughes. 8 dual position players, and that would leave me with 1 trade. So that's fine. Happy with that. This is how it looks. So these are the current prices of the 6 guys I'm trading out. So that is obvious. And then the current price of the players I'm trading in. So yeah, this is scenario 1, sorry. So just those 2 trades. So I'd have 178K in the bank. And yeah, it would cost 170K extra money that I don't have currently to make those trades. Obviously, that's not how fantasy works. I won't be trading all these guys out this week. It will be this is after the 2 trades this week as well. So there'll be the trades from around 18, 19, 20. I'll probably do somewhere between 2 a week, maybe 4 in round 19. We'll see, whatever floats my boat, whoever's named and stuff like that, whoever's backing up from Origin, yeah, whatever. But it will cost me 170K. But obviously these guys are going to make a bit of money from this point forward, unless they get injured or whatever. So I've done the expected trade out price, just an estimate based on how many weeks I plan on having them. So like a Brayley, what did I put him as? 514. So yeah, if he scores 50 for 4 weeks, that's when I'll trade him out potentially, and he'll be about 514K. So I've done similar. I think I did 2 weeks for Cook, even 1 week for Savala because I plan on trading him after round 18 with the buy. No, they don't have a buy in round 19. Anyway, it's just projections. So yeah, most of these guys should make money. Hines lose a bit of money. Garrick's pretty much breaks even, but the rest all should make some decent money. And then most of these guys will lose a little bit of money. So Cleary, he's got a higher break even, like 70-something. Katoa, 70-something as well. And then Watson and Herbie probably make a little bit of money from here. Cash downs obviously stay the same. So yeah, with the expected trade out price and trade in price, I'll have 70K extra. Obviously it's 3.67 million that I'm trading out and 3.6 mil trading in. So I'll have 70K in the bank after these trades. And that will leave me with 2 trades remaining, so that's good. And then I obviously get my 8 extra in round 20. So that leaves me with essentially 10 trades, and I have close to my final team. Obviously, the more money I have in the bank, the better. So some of these, if someone like Savala has a 10 break even, I'm not going to trade him out. If he's still pumping out 50s, that's fine. I'll keep him. It's just projections at the moment. But yeah, obviously, there are some upgrades I'd like to make. Pretty top heavy, so that's totally fine. Who would I trade out? Someone like a Scotty Drinkwater I could upgrade. Jerome Hughes I could upgrade. And yeah, maybe I can get a cash cow who's 300K instead of 230K. There's always marginal upgrades, but 70K in the bank doesn't leave me with much options. But plenty of trades to do so 10 trades. Obviously, I'll probably need, if I get to this team by round 21, say, I'll probably need about 6 trades for injuries, so 1 a round, and then have 4 trades to splash, however, which way I want. Yes, I will have, it says I have 2 trades there, but as you know, I like to make some mid-round trades in the major buy round. So round 18, I might want to use 1 or 2 marginal trades. Like I said, I'll have 4-ish at my disposal if I go this way. So I might want to use 1 or 2 of them if my loop options don't do well in round 18. So Fermor at the moment, at the moment it's Fermor in the centres, but I will be getting Kiraz this week. So assuming he plays, that's fine. Then I'll have 13 players, and that's great. Jed Stewart is one of those. Someone like a Drinkwater hasn't been scoring well. Garrick on the wing, who knows how he'll score. So these guys I'm going to be looping. If they score a 20 or 30, I can make those marginal upgrades, maybe to like a Reece Walsh, Tommy Turbo, I don't know, whoever I want, that aren't going to be keepers and essentially a waste of a trade, but they'll just be points, like trading for points that round pretty much and hope for the best. And that's fine. Like that's what I want to do. That's my best way of making ranks at the moment. So that's fine. Hopefully Jed Stewart, even if he scores like a 40, I'll take that. I don't think it's worth making a marginal trade on that, but at this point, he's not going to score a 40. But yeah, we'll just cross that bridge as it comes next round. I do actually think Kalon Matangi will play Origin, but I have Tallis Duncan at the moment. I can move Couchman up, so I could move Hosking there, but that's why I don't need Hosking, because he's the second man on my bench at the moment. And at the moment, I have a full edge and wing and mid position, sorry. So yeah, even if Kalon Matangi is out, I'll just move Tallis Duncan up there. I'll loop him, and then again, I can make those marginal trades if I need to. Round 19 is a little bit trickier, but obviously I won't have a few of these guys. I'll probably make 3 to 4 trades in that round, so I'm not concerned about that. Haas will back up, hopefully, given he's backed up with a quad injury now. Fermor, I don't expect to make Origin, so I essentially have 12 already with 2 guys on my interchange bench, and Garrick will be out of my team. Hosking will be out of my team. Duncan probably. So yeah, not concerned about these rounds at all. Round 18 I'm fine for, but I would like to make some marginal upgrades if I can. That's about it for that scenario. So that's what I'm leaning towards at the moment. But the money does scare me. Like only having 70k, it means I can't really get to the end of the season team I want. And there'll be guys like Tino and stuff. Like I don't have to get Herbie at 853k. Maybe I go for a Tino at 600k or whatever he is instead. And then it leaves me with like 300k in the bank that I can make more upgrades. Then get Herbie when it's like 770k or whatever he gets to. Yeah, stuff to think about. With option 2, so this is the exact same trades plus Latu Fainu. Latu Fainu instead of Hines essentially. That's what I need at the moment, so 170k. It's the exact same because that wouldn't change obviously. And then, yeah, with their cash generation, so I'd have Latu Fainu for maybe 3-4 weeks and he'd get up to 410k or so that obviously everyone else is the same. Then I have 200k extra in that scenario because obviously Hines is losing money for me at the moment and then Latu Fainu is making money. So yeah, I have so much money in the bank with this scenario, and then at the end of it, after those 6 upgrades, 4 upgrades, 2 downgrades, I'd have 200k in the bank to use at my discretion, but I would have 1 less trade. But yeah, maybe that's the right option for my team, given I need cash generation. I don't know. If Latu Fainu turns out to be a super popular option that I can see throughout, maybe after the first game, during the round, if I just see he's like 10+% picked up on footy statistics or whatever, I'll probably look to pick him up because I don't want to anti-pod at this stage. But yeah, that's just what I'm leaning towards at the moment. Definitely leaning towards Jaden Braley over Latu Fainu. But I don't know. I might come around. I always change my mind. I just think Jaden Braley is a really good option who will produce keeper level scores. Should produce keeper level scores more so than Latu Fainu, so I can play him. So this round alone, so Hosking goes to a Latu Fainu, then I have to play him. If he goes to a Braley, I'm comfortable playing him. Next round, obviously, I'm not going to play either of them. And then round 19, again, I'm more comfortable playing Braley. So, yeah, we'll see how it pans out. But let me know your thoughts on Jaden Braley. If you have been considering him, if you haven't, hopefully those Barry Tui tweets are true and we do get a longer-term hooker option for him. But even in the short term, even if he only plays there a couple of weeks, he'll make that money quicker than Latu will. So, yeah, we'll see. That's where I'm leaning towards at the moment. My plans change every day, every hour. They'll change during the round after some guys score shit unexpectedly. So, yeah, we'll see. But I'm fine with it for the moment. So good luck with your trades. I don't know what other videos I'll get out this week, but there'll be some, no doubt. And yeah, we'll get into them then. So see you then, guys. Bye.